Hi guys, how you doing? I'm Paul Beasley and this is Learn to Fence, episode number 2. Now in the first episode we looked at the on-guard position, we looked at footwork, we looked at a thrust and a lunge, okay? We're going to have a recap on all of those things this time, but what we're going to do is we're going to add a stop hit, okay, which is a counter-attack. Hopefully you're warmed up, so we are going to crack on with a reminder of the on-guard position. So if we do our little setup routine, okay? Back foot sideways, your front foot is the dominant side of your body, okay? So if you're right-footed, right-handed, it's the right foot, the right hand that goes forwards, okay? There's a line through the foot, the front foot and the back heel. Take a pace forward. So it's about a width of your shoulders between your feet, and then you're going to bend the knees equally, so you're equally balanced, okay? And you'll find if your stance is slightly wider, you need even more of a knee bend. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? It's really about a question of how your body's put together. Okay, now the sword arm is, the forearm's going to be about parallel to the floor, about a fist between the elbow and your body, thumb more or less on top, 12 to 1 o'clock if you think about it as a clock face, and the back arm is going to have a little bend in it, but the shoulders are nice and relaxed. Okay, so if I turn that to the forwards view, okay, you see how that's a line through the front foot and the back heel. The hand and the forearm is in a nice strong line just outside the line of the front foot. Okay, so that's our on guard position. Now to step forwards, classical style, you're going to reach with the heel of the front foot, okay, but not too far. As the toe goes down, lift in place that back foot. Don't drag that back foot. Okay, we're going to lift in place. So let's just do this for the benefit of the carpet camera. Okay, and to move backwards, you reach with the toe of the back foot. As the heel goes down, lift in place the front foot. Toe, heel, front foot, toe, heel, front foot, toe, heel, front foot. And that front foot lands, ball of the foot going forwards. So we have heel, toe, back foot, heel, toe, back foot, heel, toe, back foot, and toe, heel, front foot, toe, heel, front foot, toe, heel, front foot. Okay? Let's shake it on out. So that's our super speedy recap. Now, with the on-guard and the footwork, you want to train it well enough so you can do it properly without thinking about it, because you need as much bandwidth as possible free in your brain for tactical thinking. And if you're thinking, oh, where are my feet? Where's my hand? It's taking up bandwidth. You have less kind of mental processing available to try and figure out exactly how to beat this person in front of you. And one of the ways we can kind of simulate that move of the on-guard and the footwork technique from conscious to unconscious memory, okay, is just to take away one of the senses. So in this case, we're going to do a little bit of footwork with our eyes closed. So go to the back of the space, we'll do 3 steps forward, 3 steps back, and let's see how you get on. Okay, open your eyes, let's see if your feet are still in line. Let's see if you still feel you're in line with where you started. Okay, so let's do it again. Choose a spot in front of you that you're lining up with. Okay, close your eyes and let's go 3, forwards. Okay, open your eyes and have a look. Is everything in alignment? Hopefully so. Close your eyes and 1, 2, 3, backwards. Have a look. Are you still in line? Okay, and that's really just going to help you start to move from, as the training goes on, start to move from having to think about everything with your on guard and your footwork technique to being able just to let it happen without having to obsess about it, without having to jam your own bandwidth, thinking about exactly where are my feet. And if you are doing it with your eyes open, you're looking down at your feet, it's not a good idea. There's going to be someone out there with a brilliant flesh, which we haven't got to yet, who's just going to blast you as you amble forwards, looking at your feet. Okay, so next recap, we are going to look at the thrust and the lunge. So remember with the thrust, it was just the arm, and we're not using the shoulder, we're extending from the tricep. We don't want the bigger shoulder muscles, okay, coming in and dominating the much finer motor control of the hand. We want that motor control of the hand still to be available. If you punch it with the shoulder, you kind of override those hand muscles and you have less precise control, okay? And notice how the arm comes back fairly flat to the floor. I'm not karate chopping the recovery, okay? So we go like this and this, rather than this and this, or this and this, okay? A nice smooth action of the arm, everything else stays relatively still, okay? There's your thrust. What I want to do is show you from the front, which I'm not sure I did on the first video. Even if you're trying to hit your opponent here, okay, which is their cease-line target area, okay? The hand and the arm still work on this line to the outside of your front foot, okay? And you're using your wrist and your thumb to get your point across here. The reason for this is if you reach in and across as you attack, you're going to be open to a stop hit, which is what we're going to look at today, okay? So you keep your arm to the side as much as possible. There are techniques when you're going to come over to this side, but when you're doing an extension in cease, you keep your hand out, okay? And the same is true of the lunge, okay? So remember with the lunge, we boiled it down to 3 moves. So 1 has now both actions combined from 1 and 2 from the first lesson, okay? So 1 is all of this, but the key thing is the hand still goes first on 1, hand and then front foot, okay? You land in the lunge position, push through the floor with the front foot, feet recover to where they were, recover to bend knees, hips under control, back arm has come up, and then the sword arm recovers. So we go 1, 2, 3, okay? And let me just show you from the front. Notice again, as I lunge, see that hand is still out on this cease line. I've not rolled it across, okay? And the knee is in line with the front foot and the hips are tucked under, okay? Some people will just lose the hips out the back as they lunge, and that's pushing them sideways. They lose precise control with their hand because the whole thing, the whole unit is being tipped over, okay? So keep the hand out and keep the hips under control, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to do 10 lunges, and then we're going to move on to a stop hit, okay? So I'll do my 10 lunges. You can use this as a guide. But the key thing is we're thinking 1, okay, that hand goes first. But we're not going 1 and then, that's too slow. But we don't want to go simultaneous with the hand and the foot because you're moving a bigger part of your target area towards your opponent's point before you're really threatening them properly, okay? And neither do we want to go foot first because they can just blast us, okay? So it has to be hand just first and then kick in, okay? So that's number 1. And notice how I'm landing heel first to begin with. Now, because this is carpet that's underneath me, I can't really show too much how your back foot can move in, move forwards when you lunge. But if you watch some of the better people fence, watch them fence on YouTube, okay, you'll see sometimes that back foot will not only move about a foot forwards, but they'll just roll onto the inside edge, okay, because they are basically generating tremendous power as they lunge, okay? And I'll just do 3 more to the front so you can see how it looks when someone lunges at you. Okay, good, shake it out. Right, next up, we're going on to the stop hit. Right, the lunge is an attack, okay? If you take the initiative, you go first, it's an attack. That's considered to use 1 period of fencing time, okay? Now, if, for example, you lunge and I parry and then riposte, that happens quite late in your lunging action, and arguably it's 2 periods of fencing time. 1 to stop the lunge, and 2 to get the riposte, which is the attack that follows the parry, okay? Now, a stop hit happens within those 2 timings. So it's 1 period of fencing time. Your opponent has attacked you, but as they're attacking you, within the time of that attack, before that attack reaches its full extent, you are counter-attacking, okay? And that's what a stop hit is the classic counter-attack. Right, so the stop hit is effectively a thrust done as your opponent attacks you. Within that 1 period of fencing time, they need to attack you, okay? And it's still very similar to our thrust, our original thrust, but this time, obviously there's a timing element as well, because we're trying to time it as our opponent tries to attack us. But there's a timing element with the footwork as well. What we don't want to do is stick our arm out and just wait there, just wait where we are, or really lean too far in and lose our hips at the back. What we want to do is we want to just get the hit just before we're moving out of range, okay? So what we do, very much like with the lunge, where this goes first, but before it's straight, you kick in with the front foot. With the stop it, as the sword arm goes out, you start your step back, okay? So you're not dwelling in position. If you miss and you dwell in position, you can get hit. But the idea with this is you get your distance and your timing perfect. So you are just, because the thing is, you won't start pulling your point away from your opponent at this stage. It's only as you start to push with that front hip flexor to move backwards, okay? Whereas if you got the timing wrong and you start to step back as you move your arm out, you're pulling it away. So it's just arm just first, start to step. So your arm is just got straight by the time your body's pulling backwards, okay? So let's do 10 of those. So we are doing arm and step, okay? As the arm goes out, and step as the arm goes out, okay? Really start reaching back with that back foot as the arm is still going out. So effectively we have one, whilst one is still happening, we have two, and just as one finishes, we have three, okay? That's effectively the ideal thing. So we've got 1, 2, 3, okay? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, okay? Oh. So guys, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do 3 different little scenarios, okay? The first scenario is you're trying to lunge at me, and you're not gonna lunge at me. You're gonna keep distance, you're not gonna lunge at me until my arm is down and I'm stepping forwards, and only at that time. And when my arm comes back up, you recover. That's period 1, okay? Period 2, okay? So if you're gonna be good at stop hitting, you have to see the lunge coming really early on. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull my arm back, okay? So pull my arm back like that before I lunge. As soon as you see me do this, you're gonna go into your stop it, step back, okay? So I'll do this, and then start to do this. As soon as you see me do this, you're gonna go stop it, step back, okay? So remember, as the arm goes out, you start the step. But the arm is straight before the body starts to be pulled backwards, okay? That's number 2. And number 3 is gonna be a combination of both. Either the chance to lunge, or the chance to stop it, okay? So, okay, we've got that, and we've got that. And really, when you're fencing, you are trying to see those small differences in what your opponent does to try and anticipate what's about to happen. The sooner you can see that signal of what's happening, the more effective your options, your decisions to do whatever, attack, counter-attack, defend will be, okay? So I'm gonna start the timer, give us a 5-second countdown, and then we get 10 seconds between each scenario. So this first one, keep distance. When my arm is down and I step forward, you're gonna lunge. When my arm comes back up, you're gonna recover, okay? Start the bout. Looking for a nice clean opportunity to lunge and get the point, okay? And recover. Okay, 10 seconds. Now what we're doing is you're keeping distance with me. When you see my arm come back like this, okay, not straight down like that, but like this, I'm gonna lunge and you stop it, step back, okay? So I'm basically doing a rubbish lunge to give you a really big signal that the lunge is coming. Hope you got your stop it in before my lunge came through. Okay, shake it out. All right, we've got 40 seconds left. This time it's an either or. You've got to tell the difference between this and this, okay? It all starts with keeping distance. If you lunged on that one rather than just stop it. If you manage to get the stop it on that one. Hopefully that was a stop hit. Where was that? is lunge.
And time.
Boom.
Great effort.
Again, what he said. Can't see what you're doing. Hopefully you're doing phenomenally well. So, in this lesson, we've had a recap, on guard, footwork, thrust, lunge. We've looked at a stop hit, which is basically a thrust used as a counter-attack, and combined with that is a step back, okay? And for the scenario at the end, we've done an attack, lunge on the signal, we've done a counter-attack, stop it on the signal, and we've done either or based upon the signal. Obviously, have a look at this one again until you really feel comfortable with it. And by all means, if you're feeling really tired, go to the warm down video. It's a really good habit to get into early on in your time as defender. Thank you for joining me. See you next time.